We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another. Oh, was that hot? Was I hot?
A little bit.
I'll crank it down just a scooch. I don't know why I'm hot today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Parental Mental Health Tuesday here in the Parents' Lounge. We have a fantastic show for you tonight from Family Guy, the Goldbergs, and Step by Step. Christine Lakin will be joining us. Kate Mulligan, I will read a text from her as to why she's not here tonight.
I love that her commitment lasted exactly 1 week.
But when you read the text, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's not working. I went to the dermatologist today where they not only froze many pieces of my body off, but also cut a couple pieces off. And Jason had a spinal tap yesterday. So parenting's going fantastic for us.
No, it's not going.
No, I mean, did you not know the sarcasm in my voice? Are you numbed to the sarcasm?
I talk to you so often that I'm unable to even differentiate anymore.
We got Narcolepsy's already here. Brandon's already here. Maureen O'Malley, Joe Bo. Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us as always. Jamie Kaler, Jason Gowan, here from the Parents' Lounge. Did they turn it up to 11? Yes, we definitely. This one goes to 11. We are thankful you guys are here. This is being shared to many different locations. You can always share it yourself if you know a parent who could use a little, maybe a slight laugh to get through the week. Then we're going to tell some incredibly horrific stories about. Jamie's sarcasm was frozen up. No, the sarcasm's too deep. You couldn't. It would kill me if you took it out of me. I couldn't survive.
I wouldn't even know how to talk to you anymore.
No, not at all. So listen, we're very thankful. And it's because of you guys that we do this live, because we love the interaction, the jokes. You guys cheer us up so much. And hopefully we cheer you guys up as well with our insane stories. My daughter was in a crazy play, The Little Mermaid, this weekend. She just had an insane outburst moments ago. It's been a little crazy for you as well, I believe it, right?
I don't even know what day is it. Well, I know. No, when you talked to me yesterday, I was high as fuck from the medication.
That's right. Which is, I can tell because you just swore with an F-bomb, but I called you. Jason had a spinal tap. Do you want to tell people why a man of your age would be having a spinal tap?
Well, they don't really know why. Possibly I have MS, or my children have just aged me so fast that my brain is now 75. It
came from the fact your arms were numb.
In October, my arms started going numb, and I actually was unable to use them for periods of time. And I almost dropped one of our kids. And so then I'm like, well, I can't be dropping kids. So I went to the hospital. I've literally had every test under the sun done to me. And they said, you know what? We need to do an MRI of your brain. And remember, I said to you, they're not going to find anything. They didn't find anything else anywhere else. Sure enough, I have lesions all over my brain, which explains a lot of the things that I do that are strange. But at the same time, a little worrying. And so I had the spinal tap done yesterday. It was the weirdest thing ever. It was such a weird, like they poke a needle into your spine, and it was weird because
Well,
I've never
any mom who's had a epidural, right? Is that what it is?
epidural, yeah.
Any mom's gonna go like, dude, shut like and it's we'll talk to our esteemed guest today about whether she had that or not, because my wife did. And yeah, they jam a needle into your spine. It's
You know what's weird for me about it is that like the whole time he kept saying, "You have a beautiful spine. You have just a beautiful." And I was like,
I'd be worried. Did he put you to sleep? And then, at halfway through the procedure, where you're like, wait, that's not my spine. And you're like, wait, that's not a needle.
My spine, not another part.
Hey, he's like, all right, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to check your spine, the very lower portion of your spine. It's kind of where the pelvis and the spine meet. Luckily, there's an opening there. I'm going to just kind of find my way in.
Was that not where it was supposed to be done?
No, I don't believe that's where the spinal tap's supposed to go. But I don't know. I haven't had one yet. But yeah.
Well, they're weird. I mean, it's a weird thing, and the headache after was brutal.
So I called Jason after, and I go, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" You're like, "I'm actually pretty good." You sounded like Mr. Bill. You had like this weird high voice. Did you know? Do you know you have a high voice when you get super wasted? You're like, I don't know, buddy. I think I'm doing okay. And I was like, dude, you're so high right now.
Yeah, it was. It was a fun ride yesterday until it wore off.
Wait, why didn't you just get another ticket for the ride, brother? Those tickets you can do more rides. They have other rides.
Okay, I mean, I'll look into it. I don't know how much the doctor's
I think it's just they give you a little jar, and you just open it, a little container, and each pill in it is a new ride. So just go.
That's illegal here.
Okay, narc. Dude, what are you talking about? All right, listen, we have a fantastic show. We have so much to talk about because, again, every week it's like, I don't know, anybody out there who's got kids, you're like, wow, okay. So that's how my day went. Every day. I used to do this as a joke where people go like, well, if you talk to somebody who doesn't have kids and like, hey, where were you yesterday? You go, kids. And people without kids need a story. But anyone who has kids, if you just go, dude, kids, everyone goes, oh, I totally get it. Don't worry about it. Like 4 hours of your day of like, that's where that day went. Kids. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow, subscribe, like, share. You can share this to anybody. You can share this to your page if you want, if you have some friends who need it. And stars.
And you do
stars. We can do stars, I think, on Facebook. I don't know. This is going out to the entire universe, and it's super fun. So, all right, let's get into this. I just cracked a bottle of wine. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. We're gonna tell some stories.
I mixed the rum and rum. So I'm just rumming it up tonight.
I went vino. I can't wait to hear the jokes. Freddie B's here. All right, Joe Bo's already ripping it. So without further ado, one of our favorite guests. She's honestly become one of our regulars. She's fantastic. Please welcome Christine Lakin.
Hi, guys.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on? Hi, friends.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about today because we were having such a crazy ass day, and I had an insane weekend. My daughter was in a play. She had no lines, but the play was like the full 3-hour version of The Little Mermaid that I sat through twice. And to be fair, it's for grammar school kids, it's an amazing production. And the woman, we're very lucky. We have this teacher who, like the costumes alone were just phenomenal. But you know, to sit through it 2 times in 48 hours is a lot.
I mean, did they try anything groundbreaking with the material? I mean, did they really just go all to town with it, or?
Dude, they don't do, you know, like some kids, they do a truncated version of just a few songs or whatever. It was a 2 hour and 30-minute Little Mermaid. Like, here's the thing with the Little Mermaid too. Well, I don't know about musicals. It's just, I don't think it's one of the strongest musical songs. It's not like Grease where everyone sings along. It's The Little Mermaid. You know, the 1 or 2 songs from the movie, and then the rest of the songs kind of feel like filler. So to me, it's not the greatest musical out there, but I mean, it was amazing to watch the kids.
Here's my problem though. Like, you know what? If a musical with professional people on Broadway is 2 hours and 30 minutes, like I'm ready to cut my losses. I don't care how good it is. I don't care if it's Tony nominated. Like, if it's not 90 minutes, I don't know that I can do that. I just went to see Six the musical, amazing, at the Pantages, 90 minutes. And I feel like that's sometimes part of the reason why it's so good. Like you get out. You get out before before people realize that it's not all effective.
Well, that's the oldest trick in the book is
Get it.
like doing stand up, it's always leave them wanting more. And you can always feel it. Like I've done shows before and I'm crushing and I'm crushing and I'm crushing. And you can feel it after one joke. In the back of your head, it's like yelling at you, get off right here. But it feels so good. You're like, let me do a couple more bits. And then all of a sudden, after 2 more bits, you're like, I should have left about 10 minutes ago. And everyone's like, it was great. It was great till the end. So yeah, there's definitely a good out.
Well,
apparently really Six is amazing. I've heard. Yeah, I've heard great reviews on Six.
It's so good. And I've been playing the lottery because those tickets are expensive.
Yeah.
So my friend actually won, and then she brought me, which was really nice. And I mean, we got really lucky. Great seats.
That's how I saw Hamilton for $20 tickets. I saw Hamilton on the lottery. I played it every day for like a year before I won it, but I then won it.
Amazing.
And it was amazing. Yeah, it was super great.
Well, my daughter did Willy Wonka this year. So talk about Willy Wonka for 2 seconds. Okay. She was an Oompa Loompa. Not a lot of big parts, for the little. Sure. They're going to be the filler fruits in this one. So, it's a lot of the same song over and over, but with a little bit of different lyrics. And they're very funny, and they're wearing these wigs, and they come out and they do these things, and it's just adorable. But let's talk thematically. What happens in Willy Wonka? Children are coming into a factory, and whether they deserve it or not, most of them do deserve it, and not coming out. Like, are they dying? It's kind of dark. One of them falls into like a chocolate river. Never see him again. The other one blows up like a big raspberry. She's gone. They're going to try to juice her or something. I mean, these children are just they're in a large factory. Have you seen this movie or this musical in a while?
Are you kidding? My daughter is Violet Beauregard. Is that the one? Violet Beauregard's the awful one. Right?
It's the Veruca Salt is the
Veruca Salt's also awful. Yeah,
Veruca Salt's worse, but I think
worse.
My daughter's more Violet Beauregard. Is that the other one? Right?
She's the one that has to be juiced. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I want this and I want that and I want this. We have a sign. I made her write a story. There's 15 stories on a wall. Every time she had an outburst, I'd make her write a story about how she had this insane outburst. And then she just said, I'm like, do you want to write? If you want to be a professional writer, you don't have to have the outburst to write the story. You could just write the story and skip the outburst. But she just lost her mind like 10 minutes ago.
She's very method.
Yeah, very method.
Or is that reverse method?
I'm
not sure.
Well, no, she's using her pain. Her pain. My daughter had a full outburst last night because she took a rather expensive doll, and decided that her friends have the same doll, but their doll has freckles. So she decided to take a Sharpie to the doll and just give the doll freckles. And then very quickly, like, Chardonnay and Bangs, regretted it and was like, what have I done? This doesn't look good. And I was like, okay, sweetie, it's going to be fine. We're going to do it. So my husband comes up. She is full meltdown, full crying. It's like 8:10, and I'm like, we really got to diffuse the situation. So he's looking stuff up online. He goes and finds the nail polish remover, and he just goes to town. But he also wipes off half an eyebrow. So now she's got all the freckles are gone, but the eyebrows also gone. And she's like, I got the eyebrow. I'm like, sweetie, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. So what does she do? She takes that Sharpie again. Someone take the drugs out of her hands. She gets the Sharpie again and starts filling in the eyebrow, but then she overdoes it. So now she's just like goth on one side. Like, it's American Girl, but like quasi goth. And then she's like, I did it again. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm just like, it's okay, sweetie, it's okay. I mean, meltdown. So then I am there with a Q-tip, just doing like one of these for like 25 minutes, trying to get the goth off the eyebrow. And then, so now she's got no eyebrows, no eyelashes, just on one side. And, and this morning I was like, I'm afraid to touch it. I'm afraid to do anything to it because she's like inspecting this thing as if we are some kind of doll creators and we can just recreate this doll. I find a brown permanent Sharpie, and this morning you should have seen me. Like I was doing, what do you call it, microblading? I was microblading eyebrows onto an American Girl doll. Like, and I my hands were shaking. It was 7:30 in the morning. I hadn't even had coffee. And she is like looking at this thing as I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best. And finally she inspects it and she was like, well, I guess it's good enough. I was like, you're the one that did it. You should be happy.
That's so funny. My daughter wanted makeup for the play. And so my wife took her to get makeup for the play. And so she came home, and before she went to the play, she came out of the room and the blush was crazy with blue, like crazy. Like she looked like, Central Casting.
From the Drew Carey show.
She was a prostitute out of Central Casting, where you're like, hey, we need a straight up hooker who's like behind a dumpster, like at a Dunkin' Donuts, or an inflatable sex doll. Like, is there a face that? And she made her, and I was like, oh my god.
Corner of Sunset and Vine. Yep.
But she's supposed to be she played a puffer fish and a flamingo, I think, in it. They were all sea creatures, right? From the Little Mermaid or whatever. So so I didn't want to be the guy who's like, that looks absolutely ridiculous. So I was like, hey, I'm really trying to let them go make their own choices and choose their own style. And I was like, it's a play, dude. Do what you want.
Yeah.
So apparently she went to the play and one of her friends was like, that looks terrible, which was worse because then she was like destroyed. And so she went to the bathroom and tried to wipe it off. But again, it looked like somebody hosed it and just sprayed it all over her face. So she looked even worse. And then, do you remember? She had to get wheelie shoes for the play which was really creative. I thought they made all the sea creatures on wheels.
Oh, that's cool.
They roll around the stage.
Very Starlight Express.
Very Starlight Express. And so I had to buy them for starting rehearsals like months ago. And so she kept wearing them every single day. And I said, listen, stop wearing them. They're going to break like the day of the play. And she was like, and I'm like, I wish I didn't know everything, but I do. And so one of the wheels broke Saturday morning. Absolutely just wouldn't turn at all. And she's like a mess. And I go, I don't want to sit there and go, I told you so, but I told you so. I told you this was going to happen. I don't know why. I've been on Earth a long time. Please listen to me. So you can close the wheels. You can tuck them up and close it. And so she did that to get to the play. And then she was just going to roll on the single wheel. But she came out for her call to join her scene. And she had forgotten to open the wheel and cut. And I could see it immediately. So all the other kids are sliding around and she's just standing on stage. And I can see her head go down. And I can see the tears start crying. And I'm like, oh. So I can see it. So she only does her one scene or whatever. And then she goes backstage. And so I kind of have a sneaky suspicion. So I go around. And as I get to the back where the actors are all, they're like, hey, Hannah just left. She was sobbing. She went in the bathroom and she had locked herself in a stall in the bathroom. This was right at intermission. And like, she wouldn't come out. And she was like, I'm done with this theater thing. And part of me was like, great, no more acting. I couldn't applaud this more. And she finally kind of calmed down and went back in. But every day it's like another.
Is it just, I mean, I don't know, Jason, like, is this girls? Is this age? Is this, I
think it's the age. I do think it's in this age range because I have seen Jace melt down over things that I just do not understand at all. He got a pack of Pokemon cards and there were a reprint that he already had. And I tried to explain to him, you can trade that with a friend or we can go to one of the events where they trade those. He lost his ever-living shit. I don't understand why this happened to me. And I don't need to, Bulbasaur. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. But this will go on. And if the Bulbasaur is the worst thing that happens to you today, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time about creating drama where you're like, and I always tell my daughter the same thing. I go, you're making this harder than it needs to be. It's one day something bad's going to happen. This is not it. Why are we having a meltdown in this situation? And with the acting thing, though, I did tell her because she didn't feel great about the play or something. I said, that's the hardest part. And honestly, it's maybe one of the greatest things that being an actor and a comic has taught me is that you got to live with it. Because how many times, Christine, have you driven home from a job? And even though it went really well, I still, in my head, think of 1,000 different ways I could have said it, could have done it. Did they like what I did? You can't help but feel that way. So we had a long talk about saying, listen, you put the work in. When you walk on stage, you throw it away. You do the best you can, and you got to live with it. There's nothing you can do. You can't go back and redo it. So it's kind of a good lesson to be in the moment, but it's hard. It's really hard.
I mean, when she was like really at her like peak meltdown last night and she was like laying down, I was like trying to get her to just calm herself down with the whole doll debacle. And she was saying things like, that was so stupid of me. Why did I do that? It was stupid. I said, hey, you don't need to call yourself stupid. I said, it was a choice. It's probably not a choice you want to make again, but it was a choice. And we don't have to go back to that. We don't have to repeat that choice. And then
all I can think of is I say that still to myself.
I know.
The other day I was talking to some woman and I was like, oh, what grade's your son in? And she was like, the same grade as your daughter. Like our kids are in class. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then I got home and I was like, why would you say? I was like to myself going, what are you, an idiot? Why would you say something that's stupid? Why would you put your foot in your mouth?
You know what? It's funny though. Like I think, having been an actor for so many years, and doing so many plays and all of that, I do have there is that little part of me that has so much camaraderie for the process of it.
Me too.
And I do watch them. And like, I think that whether it goes well or doesn't go well, there is something about it that is so, because I know it, that I feel it was my sports. So to me, I'm like, it's so special. And whether they're big parts, little parts, doesn't matter. Like my daughter's now all friends with these like 4th and 5th graders.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, what's up, Lucas? What's up, Millie? Like she's just like walking into school. And that's really kind of cool to be a first grader who feels like you've got, all these other people now. But those moments can be rough. Like I was doing children's professional theater when I was this age. I'll give you a short story. One of the worst things still to this day that has ever happened to me on stage. To this day, I can remember it like it was yesterday. So it was this company I worked with in Atlanta. We would do these shows at different schools and they were sort of compilations, kind of like, I don't know, sort of like Our Town, but we were just, there was sort of a through line and like a quasi message, but not really. So there was this one number. For some reason, we were all in these like factory suits, sort of like what they make at Madewell and sell you now. But everybody's in this like kind of culty factory suit. And we had this like weird song about like, this goes here and this goes there. And it was sort of like how like stilted, like a factory kind of job could be, which like thinking back on it, probably like a lot of the kids that we were performing to, their parents worked in factories. So like maybe a little tone deaf, but anyway, and then afterwards you have to go backstage, I have a quick change, take that thing off. And then I have one small scene and then I have to re-enter. And basically then I see a girl on stage and the two of us have to have this like long kind of dramatic ballad about learning to color outside the lines and whatever it was. I want to be a child when I grow up and whatever. So I'm backstage and I'm doing my like quick change. What I have not taken into account is the fact that I am wearing high top Keds. And I was able to pull this factory costume on, but now I have double knotted the Keds.
Yeah.
And I have not done my research. I have not realized that those bad boys are so double knotted. They are not slipping off. And now I can't get this factory costume off. And it is just inside out, but connected at the ankles.
It's kind of like me when I was drunk in my 20s at like 2:00 in the morning. And then I'd wake up on the kitchen floor with one shoe and my pants around my ankle. Nobody else? Is that just me? Or that Jobo?
That happened to me. It happened to me this morning.
So all of my castmates are now, I'm like freaking out because I got to get on stage, and they're just dragging me around by my ankles in this factory costume backstage. That's not working. Like, that's not helping. Finally, the cue is there. And then the cue is there. And then I hear the cue like a third time. I'm like, guys, I have to go out. The show must go on. So I can only shuffle because I am dragging a costume behind me. And I'm at least going to go and sit at a table, and I can kind of shove my legs underneath the table and no one will really know. But the girl on stage knew, and she sees me, and she just, her name was Joy. She had red hair. She just bursts out laughing, and she cannot contain herself. And now I'm sitting at the table and I'm just looking at her, and the two of us are just like, and the song starts. If you've ever tried to be serious and get through something, especially sing a ballad while you are pretty much having like a giggle fit, it is the most cringy, like awkward moment. And the director is sitting in the front by the sound booth, and I remember she was looking at us going, she didn't know what you're doing. Like, what's going on?
We did crazy sketch
God,
comedies, and we would go out of our way to make the other person break. I remember doing crazy stuff where you would like preset something on the table to make the guy break. Yeah, it was super funny. Super funny.
I had something in the vein of Christine, but it turns much darker. I was in a similar kind of choral show choir thing. And
you were in a choral show choir thing, were you?
It was.
Okay, all right, just checking.
There's not a lot of talent here, Jamie.
I just love it's like, hey, we need actors for a choral show choir type of thing.
Like, oh, you have a Y chromosome? Sure. We're just going to bring you in real quick. Come on.
It's not only choir, but it's also choral. It's a choral choir, which I just think is so specific.
Are you not
choir? I'm a fan.
Thank you, Christine.
No problem.
Because obviously, Jamie is Jamie. Anyway, we were doing a song called Hand in Hand, and the choreography on the chorus was to lift your arms. And I gambled on a fart, and I lost that bet.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And mid-song, I knew it happened. I'm wearing bright white pants.
Oh, no.
Shardy.
And I ran out mid-song.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I disappeared, and I threw out everything. And I happened to have the clothes that I had worn to school that day, and changed back into them because. And then the choral director said, "What happened to you?" And I was like, I realized that I sat in tobacco spit on the bus, and I remembered it just then, and I needed to leave right then and there. And she never questioned it further than that.
Did anyone on stage notice?
Oh, yeah, everyone.
Like, okay.
I'm sure they smelled it.
Wow, thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
And I mean, it's just science. I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
I just am so glad that it happened before the twirl in the song. So it would have faced the audience.
You don't want to spray the audience with stuff like that. That could have gone south pretty quick.
But that was probably, I don't know, top 5 worst moments of my high school career.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not.
And that's high school. You don't live that down. That's like nickname. That's nickname time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. The brown stain. The brown hornet.
Did I ever tell you guys like one of my worst audition stories?
I
that
can't
sort
wait.
Of is along this vein.
I've told a lot of them terrible audition stories, and I can't wait to hear yours.
Okay, if I've told this one, stop.
No, I won't stop.
But all right, years ago, I was up for this show. I can't remember what it was, but I was testing for a show with Tracy Morgan, and the test was on like a Friday. And at the same time, I had booked this Comedy Central like presentation. So it wasn't a full pilot, but we were doing this presentation. So I was able to kind of do the presentation and then go off and do this test, and they were like fine with it. So, you know, I'm working that Friday, and then they're going to let me go at lunchtime. We're going to go to the thing. So I'm at work in the morning, and in the scene, I'm working with Steve Gutenberg, and in the scene, I'm supposed to be at some kind of function. He's playing a version of himself, and I'm his like hapless kind of assistant. And we're drinking champagne. And I had made the choice as an actor that this character was so annoyed that she just keeps downing champagne. So they give you apple juice, and you're drinking the apple juice, and you're downing the champagne, and it's take after take after take. And I do that all morning. And then at 11:30, like, okay, Christine, go ahead, go to your test. We'll see you, 1:30 or whatever it is. I'm like, great. So I like change really quick. I put on this like outfits, like a white mini skirt, jean skirt, and like some kind of like a button up, because I was supposed to be I was testing for this series and I like the character was like, she worked at like a TGI Fridays. So I was like, all right, that feels like very Fridays to me. So I get over to Radford, I park my car, and as I'm like walking to the front gate, I'm like, oh, my stomach does not feel good. Oh my God, I think I had too much of that apple cider. I had probably drank 12 glasses of sparkling apple cider.
Oh no, the bubbles did not help you at all.
Apple cider is a diuretic, y'all, in case you didn't know that. So I walk up to the guard gate, and it is rumbling. Like it is bad. And I am feeling things, and things are happening real quick. And there is a man working there. God bless his soul. He moved smaller than a tiny baby. He was so old. He was like, now, do you know where you're going? I was like, yeah, got it. Yep. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm like grabbing the pass, and I am now doing like a shuffle, like I'm a penguin through these doors, in which I know there's a bathroom right there. I'm like, got to get there. Can't get there fast enough. I get into the bathroom. Let's just say the undergarments have been ruined. Mm-hmm. Undergarments are now ruined. I had a Jason moment. Those are now in the trash. And there are no other layers. It is a white jean mini skirt. And I'm now commando. Mm-hmm. And the rumbles are still happening, but I don't have a choice because the test is happening. Yeah. It's 5 minutes. Right. Like I have to go now. So I just steel myself, and I get there to that room. And now I have to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And every time, and I am feeling the things happen. And I'm thinking to myself, every single time I feel something happening, like you cannot bet on it because there is no betting.
You can't bet on it. You don't do the bet.
It's just a bad bet.
I do not bet. So I just keep going to the bathroom like over and over and over and over because I'm going to take the safe bet. People must have thought, I don't know what people thought. I don't know if they thought I was doing drugs in the bathroom. I don't know what they thought, but like I could not. I get through it. I am so focused on the fact that I am not wearing underwear. I get through it. It goes fine, goes great. I then get back to work and then have to tell everybody that story because I cannot believe that has just happened to me. Not only did I not get the part, I don't even think the show went. Like all of that for nothing. All of those rumbles, like all of that, back and forth, the anxiety, all of the stuff. Me almost having, a really terrible moment, commando in someone's office at CBS, and the show doesn't even go. Like, how is that possible?
Oh, it's possible.
It's possible.
I love that
I don't know if this will help you feel any better, but I think a lot of the TGI Friday races where I'm from don't wear underpants. So at least you were, in character.
Yeah, trying to use it. I mean, it definitely was a time in which, that was fashionable. So I tried to tell myself that.
Yeah, commando.
Nothing is worse. There is no worse feeling than being at work and having some kind of stomach problems. There's just not.
No,
it's the absolute worst.
Yeah. All right, I have a question for you. I'm going to change the subject because there were plans made for me for this weekend, and I want to talk about the fact that wives just make plans for the husband, and then the husbands are just supposed to go, yeah, whatever, that sounds great. So, I was told my wife and her friends and all the girls, the daughters, are going to Barbie World. This was the plan. They've told me. I live in the Valley, and they said, we're going to, my wife goes, we're going to Barbie World with the girls. You and all the dads are coming with us. You're going to drive us over there. Then you're all going to go hang out at the King's Head pub for about 2 hours, and then you'll take us back. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I said, you want me to drive you over there, then sit in an English pub, a pub that I used to hang out in all the time and drink extensively in. And then I'm going to drive my family back from Santa Monica an hour to the Valley. And she's like, yeah, that's the plan. I go, are you criminally insane? How's that going to go over when I try to tell the police? Oh, sorry, guys. I had to come over for Barbie World and they made me. She goes, what? You can't sit in a
drink.
She's like, you can't just sit in the pub for 2 hours and have one pint. I go, no. What are you nuts? And so
drinking it through a dropper.
What did she think you were going to do with the rest of that time?
I don't know. She goes, well, you don't have to go to the pub. You could walk around. I go, why am I going at all? You're going to. Why am I in this? You know, like it's like in a like you're watching a play and you're like, why is that character on stage? He doesn't even speak. Why is he there? And so the other two dads, I texted the other dads and go, dude, I'm so confused by this plan. Why? And they each of them were like, you've raised some valid points. I'm afraid to bring them up with my wife. And I said, well, that's you. One guy goes, oh, look, I know it makes no sense whatsoever, but I can't bring it up. And I go, I don't even know what to say to you, brother. He goes, it's just not worth the fight. And I go, so I'm the dick now who's like, I'm not doing that. I am not going. And everyone's like, all of a sudden, I am the pariah where people are like, can you believe Jamie wrecked the plans? We had these plans. We had drawn out a little diagram. They were going to drive us over. We're going to go to Barbie World. They were going to have whatever, sit wherever they could do whatever they want. And then they were going to drive us back. I was like, why don't you just take a fucking Uber, dude? Why am I your Uber driver?
Are all the XLs or the XXLs busy this weekend?
Why would you want your Uber driver to sit in the King's Head pub for 2 hours? That's the last thing I would want my Uber driver to do.
Is there a problem with parking?
I mean, it's not probably going to be the easiest park job. I'm sure Barbie World, but you can park. I mean, if it's an Uber XL, you just go there. I was so confused. Why? But it was like, it brought back and guys go, yeah, my wife. And I told my wife, I said, listen, what if I said to you, I said, hey, I'm going to take the kids golfing. I would love it if you drove me to Palos Verdes and then you go to some brunch place and you just sip bottomless mimosas for 2 hours and then you drive me home. And she goes, that's not the same thing. I go, it's exactly the same thing. I'm so confused. She goes,
well, you're taking Barbie World out of the equation.
Why do you have to wreck the plans, Jamie? Why do you? And I don't think this is a solitary thing. I think this is more of like I would never even think about making those plans for her whatsoever.
Right. I do think that most women are the social chairs of their household. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. And I hear you, Jamie, on this one. I do. And, at the risk of also being a social pariah, I think I probably side with you on it. I don't like being told what I'm going to do with my weekend. That being said, without being given a choice, here's what I'd like us to do. How do you feel about that? But I'm sure that there was some kind of other plan involved and everybody else got real excited about it. The problem was no one told you until it was already
I was the last guy told, and that was for a reason, because I texted the other dads, and the other dads were like,
they were probably, they're going along with it, or maybe
I love them, excited. But I'm sure they just do what they're told. And I go, which I get. Listen, we all, to a degree, Jason, we just, most of the time, life is, they go, and that's what they kind of said. They go, look, dude, life's just easier if we do what we're told. I go, I get it. And yes, it is. But there's a point where you're like, this is stupid. This plan is stupid.
See, I have an advantage there that you don't, and that she knows I have to drive. I'm the only driver in our home. So she knows if I don't drive or I have something going on, that plan is done. Because Uber, we don't have them here.
Who said, how about a hot air balloon with a mini bar? Narcolepsy, we already thought about that, but unfortunately the wind blows inland. So if I get in a hot air balloon, I'm going to end up in Ontario. California.
I can't come back, folks. I don't know how it works.
I don't know if you know how. I always love when hot air balloons were like, I'm pretty sure you have to go where the wind takes you. There's no directional travel with a hot air balloon.
I do think it's kind of hard though, because I think that dynamic is sometimes set up. Like, for instance, I don't think my husband and I would have, if not for me making a plan, I don't know that we would have gone on a date in the last feels like 5.5 years. He would probably disagree. But I feel like I am making a lot of the date plans. And with that comes like a lot of other coordination. And I mean, he benefits from it for sure.
Perception is such reality, because my wife and I will have conversations like that where she'll be like, well, if it weren't for me, we'd never go on a date. And I'd be like, that's in your head. And then I'll list like 12 things. She goes, oh, I guess. Like my wife, like, and I don't think it's just her, because, you know, the studies about perception is reality.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys, and this is to change the subject again, but 60 Minutes this week talked about the new scams that people are doing. Did you watch 60 Minutes at all?
I do, but not lately.
This week, the story was about new scams. And so the people are calling older people and going, Grandma, I just hit somebody with my car. I'm talking to a lawyer. And if you could get me $9,000, I could, the lawyer says he can keep me out of jail for the weekend or something. And so the old woman goes to the bank, gets $9,000 out, and a courier comes and picks up the $9,000. And, you know, you're like, wait, did she not call? But here's what happens. And so this one woman comes on and shows them the scam. They can spoof the phone. So they get all this information online, and then you'll get a phone call that says, from your husband. Right. It'll say from his phone number. And you go, oh, hey, baby, what's up? Then they have another app that's just a simple app where they can mimic his voice. And so they talk, and it comes out as his voice. And so the woman calls the journalist's assistant who's sitting on the side and says, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I caught you before you got on the flight. I need your passport number really quick. And the woman just gave it to her immediately, because it came from her assistant's phone number, and the AI app changed her voice to be the other person's voice. And so she just gave her all the information immediately. And my wife and I are watching this. And so my wife goes, hey, just in the future, if one of us calls the other person and we need information, there's a password, and the password is flamingo. She said this verbatim to me. And I said, well, we're going to forget that password, but how about ask where we met? Ask where we had a first date. Ask where we, you know, you could ask other questions, but she came up, she goes, flamingo's the password. And I go, all right, CIA agent.
But yeah, that's true. I mean, everyone's going to need code words now. And they say to do this with your kids too.
With our kids too, they're going to make, some other kid's going to make a video that's going to look like your kid doing something horrific. They had the picture 2 days ago of the Pentagon with the smoke coming out of it, and they faked, it looked like it had been blown up, and it was a fake AI picture of it. And it affected the stock market. The stock market went down immediately from it. And so these people you can create, we're going to watch next year's election between two 80-year-olds. We're going to see like videos that are going to look absolutely, you're going to get to a point where you cannot trust anything you see on the internet.
Well, I mean, Jamie, there right now is a fully functioning AI me.
I know. That's why I kind of brought it up, because Christine, do you know this? They made an AI. Tell Christine this crazy story. He has an AI him.
So I know you kind of know about our family health situation. Yeah. And so I worked with a company called You Only Virtual, because I didn't want our kids to miss out on interactions with us. And so for 3 years, we've been working with this company, and they built functional AI versions of me and Jamie can attest, in like another month or so, it will be virtually impossible to tell which one is me and which one is.
It has his cadence. It sounds exactly like him, and it talks like him. And it's but you put a lot of information in to give it.
It also pulled stand-up clips of us off of the internet. So it knew who Jamie was. Honestly, probably from the stand-up show you did with us, it probably knows I know you. So it's really crazy how advanced it is already. And my son talks to it, and it speaks to him as if it's a virtual copy of his dad. And it has that same interaction, same style jokes. Everything is the same. And that's just, from very little data, it's already really convincing.
At some point, your son's going to go, you're going to go, why are you playing video games? I didn't give you permission. He's like, oh, I talked to AI you, and he said it was fine. I'm so
So
confused.
go for it.
And then eventually he'll get rid of you, the kid, because he's like, I don't like this one. I like that one. And that's eventually he'll just have AI Jason, and real Jason will be in Bali sitting on a beach.
Automation.
I don't feel bad. I feel okay.
I know.
with this.
The story, I made the
with it.
story end well. Did you feel at the very end?
I appreciate that you did that, because apparently you're making an AI so you can come with me.
It is weird. I'm not particularly comfortable with any of it. But I know I need to just like get on board, because it's gonna happen whether I'm comfortable or not. I have to like be ready for it. But there are some funny things. Like my dad had found, because my dad's got like a Google alert on me, whose father doesn't really. So there was like some random article that came out, and my dad sends it to me and my husband, and it's clearly written by AI. And because it's all in this kind of fragmented way, and it's like it's all these random facts that you could just sort of find like randomly on the internet, but it's like being woven in these like really strange, like in ways that we don't talk in.
Right.
Like her therapist lover husband.
It's like
What are you
Rachel
talking
Bradstone
about?
character on SNL, the ones that were in the hot tub.
Why? Wait, would it say something like a choral choir? Because maybe we actually have AI Jason tonight. Maybe this is AI Jason. We don't even know. That'd be so funny if one show was just like, wait, was that Jason? That's not really Jason.
He said in the next couple of months that AI me will be able to come on and host with us.
Stop.
No, he's not joking.
I'm not at all joking.
Flew out. They did a big premiere event.
When I was out there and out with you guys, that's what we were out there.
Red carpet thing, like they're a huge company coming out. And so when you say like it's a truncated version and everything's a little off, that's because it's a newborn entity. Everyone's like, oh, AI couldn't write a script. AI could write a script in a heartbeat. AI can't make songs with heart. Yeah, AI can. AI can't tell a joke. Of course it can.
Right.
Of course. How could AI learn sarcasm? Because we'll just keep putting sarcastic comments into it, and it, of course, is going to eventually. Yeah, it's going to do it all. I know.
God, that's wild.
I know.
I have the AI do all of our promotional copy for this show now. Like, I don't write it at all. I just tell the AI to do it, and it does it.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, did I not tell you? Yeah, Chat GPT's been writing our stuff for like the last month.
I wonder why it was so good. Holy cow! I was going, wow, Jason's become quite a wonderful writer.
Well,
also, you need to wire him $9,000. He's got in a car. Please, Grandpa, please.
So back to that story, they send a courier because and they have it on all the door cams, have like this same woman courier. So of course the courier goes to jail. They try to get the two masterminds, but those guys are Bahamian residents, and they're like, yeah, we don't, because they don't in this country.
Damn.
There's no jurisdictional lines anymore. So it's like, it's crazy. I was talking to another friend of mine today, and he goes, his wife works at a Chanel store, and he goes, oh, that store had to close. The one on Robertson had to close because people just kept driving. They deliberately stole a water truck because it was so heavy from the water. They thought this out to go like, we need so much force to go through. And then they would just, 6 people get on the truck, drove the truck right through the front of the store. 6 people jump off, grab all the stuff. There's a second car waiting. They all run out. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
God.
And so they finally just said, that's why all these stores are closing. Walmart, they're like, people are just walking into stores and taking what they want. I mean, it's the time, sign of the time.
Jeez. That is wild.
I know.
That's wild.
I guess.
Meanwhile, Jamie's just worried he may have to drive to Santa Monica and sit in a pub.
To sit in a pub.
Now, you could only get your avatar self to do that. That would be great.
Well, we built a virtual club in the Oculus, so we're gonna start doing we're gonna do a parents lounge like live virtual show in an Oculus.
Oh, right on.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it is amazing to think, like, where do you think it'll be 100 years from now? Like, what do you think What do you, I mean, it's so crazy because you think about like the 1800s to think like 100 years later, like to envision television and automobiles everywhere in major cities, like to go from 1890 to 1990, you'd be like, and then the internet, like, I mean, exponentially to go, where will we be 100 years from now? Like even in 40 years when my kids are like adults, I have no concept of what'll be
I
happening.
know. Like we were writing papers when we were probably, it was probably like 1994. And it was like, what will the world look like in 2024? And of course, we're all like, we're going to be in flying cars and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, like, I feel like the weirder things get, the more I'm less interested in it. Like, I want to go back to a flip phone. That's me.
Me too.
Didn't they re-release them though? I think
The
flip
kids,
phones are
some of the
back to
kids, some of the celebrity kids are doing flip phones again.
I'm kind of into a flip phone. Like if I could have a BlackBerry, I literally have I found my old one. My friend's like, yeah, sweetie, BlackBerry folded as a company. I was like, what? They did?
I do miss a keyboard. I really miss
I had a little sheath under my hip. I would slide my BlackBerry into it, and it had all the buttons on it. Yeah,
small.
I loved it. My daughter said she's in 4th grade, and she says a bunch of the kids have phones. And I go, but not like smartphones. And she goes, no, some have smartphones in 4th grade, and they are. I go, can they access the internet? And she's like, yeah, they can. They go on, they can Google and do. And I was like, in 4th grade? And she's like, yeah. I said, you're not getting one. So just, you can stop that.
Have you guys made it like kind of a choice, like when you're going to start introducing?
I don't know, Christy, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think there's other ways to, I don't know, like I'm not there yet when it gets to that point in time where like everybody has one and then you are the social pariah because you don't. I think like every kid's different, and knowing what, you have to know, like when your kid is actually responsible enough to have all content at their fingertips, quite frankly. Adults. I mean, I'm into an Apple Watch. You need to call somebody. You need to like request an Uber. You can, like if you were like of age to have to do that. I'm also into a flip phone. Like, what's wrong with a flip phone? You can't say, if there's an emergency, you
can call
911 from a flip phone. You don't need to have all that stuff.
Yeah. You're in grammar school. You don't need directions to some place.
Where are you going? Like, you're not, and by the way, when you tell your friend you're going to be at the park, it's not like when we were kids where our parents would literally just drop us off and drive away. Like, I feel like we're so entrenched in their lives these days, I used to
actually, Jobo, can you put that one back up? Jobo, I think I heard something about, they have kid phones that can only call pre-programmed numbers.
Right.
So you can set it up. Unfortunately, Joe, here's the problem with that is that technology-wise, I have to be able to program, like it reaches a point where the kids, their knowledge totally blows mine out of the water. And so I'm sure on that phone, this backdoor apps, because some of these apps, it looks like a calculator, and these kids have messaging systems through. Do you know that they have like secret apps where it looks like a calculator on the phone, but it's not. It's and they're doing like dirty text messages and pics now.
I was actually just using my like TI-89 like to do that. Like I had one of those calculators, and we were always actually spelling hell and things upside down.
Boobs.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got a phone?
Suzanne Summers is coming in. What's happening?
What?
I don't know what's happening.
I'm not sure what this is, so we'll see.
We have a very special guest, ladies and gentlemen, from Three's Company, her own Vegas show,
and Step by Step.
And Step by Step, we have Suzanne Summers today. Suzanne, how are you?
Hello, how are you? Hello, Christine, how are you? It's me, Suzanne Summers.
Yeah, that's not even a good
how are you?
AI.
No, that's a terrible AI, Suzanne. Suzanne, you sound sick.
It's been so good to see you. I've got a cold. I've got a little bit of a cold. Just deal with it. How are you, Christine? You look so great.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Oh
you.
my God, you look so good in black. Remember the days I used to tell you should always wear black because you always look good in black.
Suzanne, do you have? I'd love to hear some memories. Honestly, I mean, I'd love to hear step
Oh
by
my
step, but I'd also
God.
really like to hear some Three's Companies. Was
Oh,
Larry? You know Larry from the Regal Beagle?
he
Was
was
he
such a
really that
grabber.
dirty?
He was such a grabber. He would always grab my under regions and whatnot, and it wasn't nice. It's all right though. I'm sorry. I've got a cold. It's not a big deal.
You
I'm
didn't
just
want
so
to come in as
happy to see
Patrick
you.
Duffy, huh? You came in as Suzanne Summers. Interesting choice. You could have gone with the guy from the, but I get it. I get it. Choices have been made. We talked earlier about making choices, and you've made a bold one, Suzanne.
Jamie, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in such a long time. Remember when we
You know,
ran into
Suzanne,
each
you
other
were
at
one
the
of my
Grove?
Suzanne. If I'm
Do you
being
remember
totally honest, you were one of my first crushes. I had
Of
such a
course.
mad crush on you in
You
Three's
had a
Companies.
poster of me, and you
I
had a poster
did,
of
and
Farrah
it was weird.
Fawcett
It was
on your
very
wall.
provocative. The poster. It was almost see through. I believe it was a bathing suit of some sort.
I think it was me, Farrah Fawcett, and Sybil Danning. I remember. You told me about it.
Do you have any on-set memories of you and Christine working together? I don't.
Oh, Christine and I used to fight over the nut selection that they had at the craft service table. And I used to go almonds. I was always almonds. And she would always say, cashews, cashews. And I'd go, oh, you little princess, you love your cashews. So one Christmas, when we were filming, I brought her a stocking full of cashews. Do you remember that, Christine?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You remember? And ever
said
since
AI
then,
can't learn sarcasm.
I remember ever since then I used to call you cashew, cashew, cashew. Remember?
It's been a long
It's
time.
been a long time. I mean,
I
I
love
don't
your
want to put
hair
Christine
up
on
in
the
a
spot.
bun.
Thank you.
Your hair up in a bun and the black that you have on. I love it. You look so good. I always told you you look
Oh.
great in a bun and you look great in black.
Well, I mean,
Suzanne,
you
you've
are
always
a
just been
child
such
queen.
a positive. No, Suzanne, I understand that when you lost the rights to be Chrissy Snow in your stage show, right?
Yeah, I did. And I didn't like that so much.
It's a true story, by the way. Suzanne
That's why
Summers.
that's why I went into the being an entrepreneur, and I started doing the the flexerciser.
Bowflex. You mean Bowflex? Is that what you're talking
No.
about?
She did the one. It was
Thigh Master.
Thigh Master. It was Thigh Master, I believe.
That's what I said, Jason. Get it together. How are you? It's so good.
I'm good, thank you.
By the way,
Sorry, I have a
Christine, we had no
cold.
idea Suzanne was. We really did not. This was not.
I had no
I know
idea.
it seems planned and very scripted, but it is not. We did not know Suzanne Summers was coming in.
It's wild. What a coincidence.
I also
Christine,
feel
you
like
look so
Suzanne.
great. I love what you look like. You look so awesome. I'm
You're so sweet.
Jealous.
I gotta say, Suzanne, I feel like you've spelled your last name wrong. Is that just me?
Correct.
It is wrong, right?
Yes.
I've had a couple of gin and tonics. I love my spritzers. Ever since John Ritter used to get me during rehearsals, I used to love my gin spritz.
I have no doubt. Hey, listen, Suzanne, we want to finish up with Christine. We're gonna put you back in the green room. If you want to hang for a couple minutes.
Did crazy. It was so great to see you, Christine.
It was great to see you
So
too.
great,
Jason
as always.
and Jamie. I wish, Christine, you had a J name so I could say Jamie, Jason, Jennifer, but you're not. You're Christine. Anyways, I think you guys are great. And Christine, I can't wait to step by step. You know what I'm saying? I wish I knew the words of the song. Okay. Bye, you guys. Love you.
See you, Suzanne. Thank you
Bye.
so much for joining us. I guess this is going to be Christine's last show with us. I don't think she's coming back after this one. But I'd say so. Sometimes weird things happens in the Parents Lounge.
Shades of Richard Marx all over again.
I know. It had that. So we had one time. We had our guest was Richard Marx, and Bruce Springsteen made a special appearance, and it was going great until Bruce Springsteen really offended Richard Marx, who's a buddy of mine, and Richard hasn't been back on the show since then, which is weird stuff.
Awkward, you know.
We should really the whole thing got a little awkward. Anyway, it was such an interrupter too because we were talking about
Technology.
I had asked you when you got your first phone. Like, how old were you when you got you physically had a phone in your hand, like a cell phone? Do you remember?
Freshman, when I went to college, I got my first one, but they didn't get service here until then. So
I was deep in my 30s. I actually had an audition. I had a pager at the time. The pager went off. I pulled over to like 3 separate payphones, and none of them had a receiver. They were just shattered. And I went that day and I bought a phone. And I remember I had a flip phone where you could like text like, "Hey," you had to hit the 8 like 3 times to get to the letter it was so painful. It's so funny to think even within like a handful of years to smartphone like that.
I know.
I mean, nuts. So think about when people are like AI can't do that. 10 years from now, absolutely, it's going to do it all.
But I mean, that's like part of my point is that, I mean, I think I had a phone when I was 16 or 17, but I could only plug it in and turn it on like if it was an emergency. Like it was probably like $1,000 a minute. Like you only used it for an emergency. And then I think I had mine in college as well. But like, so, what am I, 19? You think about giving like all of that information. That was a flip phone. But you think about giving your 14-year-old or your 9-year-old like a supercomputer. You know what I'm saying? Like in their hand when they have a lizard brain. Like, is that, I don't know. For me, not for me.
Terrible
not
idea.
For me.
So do you also know, have you seen the new scam, the sextortion scam that they do to the kids?
What now?
Wait, this one's to kids?
Yeah, it's sextortion. It's text, like a text. So here's what happens. A kid has a phone, kid gets a text, and it's a photo. Like it's typically a boy, right? And he gets a photo of a naked girl from a friend, like somebody he thinks is a friend or something. And then the girl, they create a dialogue, they get it going, and then she goes, "Hey, send me a pic of you." And so, she has done it. And so in the kid's back of his head, he's like, "Well, I guess I got it," whatever. It keeps happening. This has happened numerous times. And so the boy sends a photo of himself naked in some way. And then the text immediately comes back and says, "Send us $5,000 or we're going to share this with everybody you know from school, your parents, everything." And it's gone pretty south because there's been a lot of self-harm in a way where people are like, "I can't live with this." And it's, I mean, that's the kind of technology. So when I sit there with my daughter all the time, it's like, and with the AI or whatever, I have to teach my kids to go, you cannot trust anything you see, not one thing. You cannot, I don't care if it says New York Times on it or anything, you cannot. And that sucks. It sucks that there's not one thing that you can believe 100%.
There's a whole new world of anxiety that is coming because there really is no way to tell at this juncture. Like the programming to test deepfakes is still in its infancy. And I know that, it'll get there to some degree, but the people using it for negative purposes are always going to be 5 steps ahead.
Well, and even if they admit that it was wrong, it gets shared. It doesn't matter. Like it's on Twitter or whatever. It gets shared. It's not, you can't stop it at that point. It's like a fire.
Yeah. Oh, you are really the harbinger of bad news today.
I
Welcome
know.
to my
so
life,
sorry.
Christine.
Listen, we try to keep it light and funny and make a joke about it. Like listen, Jason might have MS, but he talked about his numb arms, and all I could think about was how great would it be to masturbate with numb arms? Like
that's good. It's not bad.
So, we take the dark and we try to make it comedic, but, I keep seeing,
Speaking of dark, while Christine is still here, please read Mulligan's text message.
Oh, yeah. All right. So,
as you noticed, Kate is not here this evening.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes, I noticed.
Why is my phone ringing off the hook? Oh, he goes, "Oh, look, I got a text from Suzanne Summers to talk to Christine about step by step." Some choices have been made. So here was, I said, "Hey, Mulligan, you going to do the show?" And she's like, so with 9 O's, Neil broke his finger on Saturday and Dickie had to take him to the orthopedist this morning where they put on a full cast because of where the finger is broken. While I was getting dental work done for 2.5 hours with James in tow, who got sent home sick yesterday with pink eye and a fever that kept spiking. don't worry, he's still fevering, and we got him to the doctor where he was given meds. But now I have to go back to school to get Neil because Dickie missed strike this morning and is striking until 5, at which point the writers from the show are all going out to eat. Anyone want to guess if I'm doing the show tonight? And then Jason responded, so I'm hearing yes.
Hold on. She sent this picture to a company.
Oh God.
Joe, I won't show the. Oh, you did not take that off of there.
That's a struggle.
You can't show that picture. She'll kill us all. What are you, insane?
Oh, I thought she knew.
Rough. That's rough.
You thought she knew you were going to share the picture?
I said it in the chat.
Oh, I don't know. You're in so much trouble, dude. I can't.
Yeah.
All right, listen. I know. Do you have a crazy? Because every time we have a story from you, your house got flooded with sewage.
No, thank God. No, things are normal. Thank God. Everyone's been flushing toilets normally here. We are still fighting with insurance companies, that don't want to do anything. And that's just a whole other ball of wax.
Wait, you're telling me insurance companies don't just willingly give up the money? It's so crazy.
I literally had to call in an adjuster, like a third party adjuster to get in here because there was no other way to do it. But anyway.
It's so funny because they're easy to get a hold of when you owe them money. Aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like if you're like, hey, if you call and you're like, hey, I need to pay my bill. It's like, oh, dude, we're here. Give me the numbers. But if you call and you're like, hey, I need you to pay for something, they go, oh, let me see. Let me talk to some other people about this. This is bad.
That's probably not in our, I don't think we are probably not going to cover that. But here's like $50 to get the repairs going. Okay. I did get a call from somebody today, and I wish I could play you the voicemail because apparently the claim has been reopened. But the call I received from the insurance company, the message was like, hi, this is with claims. If you have any questions, call us. Bye. I was like, who is that? What'd you say? Like, you can't even send me.
What she's really saying is, please don't call. Please don't call us.
Don't ever call me.
No, never.
Hey, do you remember when I saw you at your school fundraiser?
Oh my gosh, we haven't talked about the festival at all. Yes,
the festival. I've been going to that festival. I've been going to that thing since before I had kids. It was like one of my husband and I's first dates. Was that festival?
We've had a lot of chat about it. Were you there the whole weekend, or did you just come Sunday?
I just came Sunday. I would have been there the whole weekend, but we had some other family stuff going on. But we did make it on Sunday. We made it a priority, and then because I had just done, I think I told you, I had just done a whole fundraiser thing for our school, and because I was working the fundraiser and I had done all this work on it, I had bid on a bunch of stuff during the week, and then the fundraiser happens and I am all hands on deck. I might as well have a microphone. I'm go 1, let's go 2, bring that here. I am literally directing the things and and so I never win anything because I'm too entrenched in making it happen. And then I'm always pissed kind of at the end because I missed out on this and this and this. But then I was in the mode, and your thing was the next weekend. And so then I went on. I was like, well, I wonder what kind of stuff they have on theirs. And I got all into your silent auction, and I became that person.
What'd you get? Did you get something?
The moments before, I sure did. The moments before, right after I saw you, there might have been a margarita in play, or 2. I got on and I was like, I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to win this thing because I was just so pissed that I didn't win anything. The other one. And you know what? You can really win something and feel like you want to go to Mexico. Now you can feel really good about going to Mexico because it's for the kids.
And it's usually I won Mexico. You get it at a cheap price and stuff. Is that where you're going to Mexico?
Yeah, I went.
You took nice. That trip looked amazing, by the way.
It looks really good. It's a 3 nights, not that crazy one, but it was it's 3 nights in Puerto Vallarta. And honestly, my husband and I haven't been away since 2019, so I feel good about it.
You've certainly earned it. The sewage stuff alone has marked you as. Seriously. And the Hawaii trip didn't go so well. So
I mean, and
that's right. I forgot the Hawaii trip as well. Nice. Listen, I don't want to. We've already gone way over the time I wanted to beat you up for. But when you go on that trip, you'll have to come back and tell us the horror story because I'm sure it will go horribly.
God, please, let it just go. Just let it be normal. That's all I care
You missed
about.
the rest of the weekend with the festival. We got overrun by teenagers from Long Beach and Torrance. Yeah, it was moments of we realized how horrible teenagers are. We got a real upfront lesson of oh, teenagers are pretty bad. And they feel very entitled these days. There's no respect for their elders. They feel, and I was given the principle. I go, this is because of participation trophies. We've taught these kids that they should be rewarded for just showing up, and it's not. It was funny. It was really funny.
Oh man!
But these kids were like, if you gave them grief, they'd go like girls would dress like total hookers, and someone would go like, you can't dress like that, and she'd go, don't you body shame me? Don't you body shame me?
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Lord,
dude.
God. Are you gonna have to make some changes to things?
Yeah. It wasn't huge, and it was crazy weekend. It was super fun. But the Friday night we because it was also with the pandemic, it was the first year that everybody was out and gunning. And I did feel bad for teenagers. They really don't have anywhere to go, and so they chose this festival to go, and so they overran it. And so they're going to do something with, I think, a covered charge or unattended minors or something. They'll end up. They actually fixed it. They fixed it by Saturday night. They did 2 different lines for parishioners and family members and school members, and then unattended teens were like, "You're going to hold." It was like Studio 54. We're like,
we're at capacity.
Not in that shirt. Not in that shirt. Go back into the line. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. Yeah. No, we did have fun. My kids loved it so much.
It's super fun. The rides are great. Yeah, it's a positive vibe. But yeah,
it is.
Teens wreck everything. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
All right, listen. I don't want to keep it. Hey, let's let Christine go. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry Mulligan wasn't here and you were trapped with two old dudes, but it was super fun and we love having you. So thank you for being part of it.
Of course, always a pleasure. Great to see you both.
All right, we'll see you soon, Christine. Thank you. She's the best. We love her.
She's the best.
She's the best. What else? I think that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. The jokes were hilarious. Jobo and Narcolepsy and Maureen and Olivia's here. And
Olivia, welcome to the show. Come back anytime. We got a lot of other great guests coming.
You don't have to be. She says, I'm not a parent. Do you want to be? You can want my kids. You can have a couple of mine. Super fun. So thank you guys so much. We're here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. We're also been throwing up some crazy Thursday night episodes. We have a few others coming up. A lot of people are reaching out. We have Brady Smith. He's a children's book author.
Andrea Barber from Full House. Meredith Mason, he's coming back in a couple of weeks.
Mason, he's on tour. She's coming back in. And we have a bunch of great guests coming in. So thank you guys. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe. We love stars on Facebook. Write a review on iTunes if you would. Definitely subscribe and share with your friends. Share with other parents who you're like, dude, I know you had an insane week with your kids. Watch these 2 idiots and you'll feel much better about the way you're parenting, I feel is really the story.
Yes. Also, brand new episodes of the podcast go up on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays. And if you're watching this on Facebook, drop us some stars because it helps keep this little dog and pony show going.
Absolutely. All right. We love you all. Thanks so much. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on the Parents Lounge.
Good night, everybody.